Muse for you, awesome websites without code.
Hey, what's up, Muser, and welcome to the 1.7 update to the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget. Now, this is one of the more popular widgets at museforyoushop.com, so I've been spending a bit of time with it to make sure you can do more with the widget. So here I have an example website, and I'm using the smooth text reveal hover box for these elements here. So we can see that text appears when I hover over each of these elements. And I'm using the RLG single widgets. And one of the major updates to the 1.7 update is the ability to open the RLG single widgets at a specific image. Before, when you had multiple RLG triggers, they would open the lightbox at the first image. So now you can actually select what image the trigger opens. So here I have 9 different triggers. They all have the same graphic style name, but each trigger opens a different image. So if I click on this third image, it will open the third image. If I click on the 9th image, it'll open the 9th image. So I actually haven't released the update yet. I'm creating this video tutorial first so that you know how to use the new updates within the widget. So once this video is released, the update will be available as well. If you've purchased the subscription, the update will be in the subscription. And if you've purchased individually, you can go to the download link that was sent when you first purchased and download the update. If you don't see that link, send me an email via museforyoushop.com and I will resend that link. So here I'll open the Lightbox Gallery. A few of the other updates is that you can now change the hover color for the icons within the lightbox. You can set the distance between the thumbnails down here, so you can make it a wider distance. You can enable or disable the looping of the images. So if we go to the last image here and we go to the next image, it goes back to the first image. So you can enable or disable that so that if you go to the last image, it'll stop at the last image and it won't go back to the first image. And you can also enable or disable the previous and next arrows within the lightbox. So I'll go ahead and get started. To get access to the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget, you simply go to museforyoushop.com. And here you can click on subscribe now within the pop-up. And here you can click subscribe now to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And right down here, we have the Lightbox Gallery. Here you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again, you can click subscribe to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. Here are the features included. There's also the preview page here and the preview for the RLG single widgets. So here we have the features included. The changelog will be posted here once this video has been released. So all the updates for the 1.7 update will be here, and this video will be here as well for the 1.7 update. Here are a few of the widget options. A few of the widget options to the left, and it looks good. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'll go to Muse, and this is what the website looks like here. So we'll be using the smooth text reveal hoverbox widget along with the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget. So here I'll go to File, New Site to create a new site, and I'll click OK, and I'll double click on the home page. So the first thing I'm going to do here is add the smooth text reveal hoverbox widget. So I'm going to go to the library panel here to the right, and I'm going to type in smooth, just the word smooth, and here I have the smooth, I'll type in smooth text. So we have the smooth text reveal hoverbox widget. So here I'll click, hold, and drag and place onto the site. Perfect. All right, and then I'll go into the widget options and I'll click on add file. And here I have the berm folder. So I've cropped these images to 600 by 600 because I'm not going to make the hoverbox larger than 500 pixels in width and height. So I went to berm.net. It's actually a really useful website for cropping images. Berm.net, you can crop the image here, set the width and height right in here, set the JPEG quality, and then drag and drop your images in here. And I also went to unsplash.com to download various images for this example. So I downloaded the images and then I dropped them into Berm to crop the images so they're perfect squares. So I set 600 by 600 to make them perfect squares, and I made the JPEG quality 100% because I'm already resizing, so the size of the image becomes lower once you make it smaller. So then I had perfect squares to add to the hover box. So remember, with the hover boxes, If you want the image to be at a certain aspect ratio or a certain proportion in width and height, you'll want to crop it first and then add to the hover box. So here I'm just going to add the images. So I'll add this image first here. Let me try that again. So click on add file, go to the burn folder, and I'll add this image here. Perfect. So then it covers the hover box. And now if I go to file, preview page in browser, and I hover over the hover box, we can see that again. I'll do that one more time because I kind of zoomed in a bit there. So I'll go to file and then preview page in browser. All right, and there we have the hover box. So when I hover, the text appears, and you can customize all the options within the widget options. You can customize the effect, the background color, opacity, and the different text options here as well. You can change the text 1 and the text 2 within the widget options. Looks good. So I have a few videos on hover boxes on the Muse for You YouTube channel that you can check out there. So now I'm going to copy and paste this hover box, copy and paste, and I'll just place it next to this one. So I'm going to create a 3x3 grid. So then I'll change the image here. And for this one, I'll do this image, just like that. I don't need to change the instance number because I'm not going to have different styling for these hover boxes. They're all going to have the same styling. They're just going to have different images. So that looks good. And then I'll copy and paste this, just like that, right in there. And I'll paste one more time in here. And then I'll just replace the images. So I might fast forward a bit here. So let's see. So we have for this, it is this image here. Then this one is this image here. All right, perfect. So there I have the 3x3 grid. So these are basically my thumbnails. So instead of using the thumbnail widgets, I'm going to use the RLG single widgets and assign the lightbox to each of these elements. So now that I have all the hover boxes, so the other thing I'm going to do is set the resize option to none for all these elements. So I'll go to the resize option and I'll say none instead of responsive width. For the hover boxes, I like to set the responsive width to none, or the resize option to none, and then just rearrange the hover boxes on different breakpoints so that they look good. So there we go. I'm also going to pin these hover boxes to the center, responsive pin to the center, so they don't move as I'm resizing the browser. So I'll go to file, preview page in browser, and there we go. We see it's not moving and it's staying relative to the center of the browser. If I hover my mouse over these images, we have that nice grid with the hover boxes. So now I'm going to bring in the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget. I'm going to bring in the RLG single. So I'm going to go to the library panel and I'm going to type in RLG. And here I have the RLG 1.7. And the first thing we want to do is bring in the RLG add first. So here I'm going to click, hold, and drag and place onto the Adobe Muse website. So I'm going to place the add first right up here. And then I'm going to bring in the RLG single widget. So we have RLG, we have HTML5 videos, images, YouTube and Vimeo videos, and YouTube and Vimeo videos with poster image. These all have thumbnails included. So they have preset thumbnails that you can resize and then open the Lightbox Gallery with those thumbnails. Then we have the add-on for images, YouTube and Vimeo videos, and YouTube and Vimeo videos with poster image. This is to add more videos or images to the Lightbox. And this only works with the thumbnail versions here. The RLG single widgets only allow for 12 images within the Lightbox, but you can have multiple RLG single widgets. You can also have multiple RLG thumbnail widgets here as well. So for this example, I'm going to bring in the RLG single with images. So we're going to have the hover boxes trigger the images or the Lightbox. So here I'm going to click, hold, and drag and place onto my Adobe Muse website. So there we go. So one thing we didn't do, and I'm just going to cover this really quickly, when you add the hover box, you want to make sure that enable link is checked, because I want to be able to open the hover box or click on the hover box to open the Lightbox. So we want to make sure that enable link is checked. So I'm going to go ahead and just enable that for all the hover boxes. Okay, so now the enable link option is enabled for all the hover boxes. So now we're going to go into the RLG widget, the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget. So here we can see for the graphic style, it says trigger graphic style name, and it says trigger 1. So before I even add images or change the settings within the Lightbox, I'm going to go ahead and apply the trigger one graphic style name to all the hover boxes. So to do that, you can simply select all the hover boxes by dragging over them and selecting all of them. Then go to the graphic styles panel here to the right. If you don't see the graphic styles panel, you can go to Window and click on Graphic Styles. So I'll open the graphic styles panel, and then here I'll create a new graphic style by clicking on this icon here that looks like a piece of paper with a folded corner. So I'll click on there, and then a new graphic style gets created called Style. So I want to go ahead and double click here, and then within the graphic style options, I'm going to change this to Trigger 1 because that's the graphic style name that's in the RLG widget, the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget here. So we want to make sure that this graphic style name is the same as the RLG widget. So I'll click OK. And now all of these hover boxes have the graphic style name Trigger 1 applied to it, so they'll open the Lightbox. So now I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. And if I click on any of these Lightboxes, they'll open, or any of the hover boxes, they'll open the Lightbox. Looks good. So we have that there. And you'll notice that they all open the first image here. I'm going to go ahead and add the images to the Lightbox, so it'll be easier to kind of understand this new update and how to work with assigning the particular hover box to a particular image. So I'll open the widget options here, and I'll go ahead and add all the images. So I want image 1 to correspond to the first hover box. So that image was this pineapple. And actually, let me go back to the root folder. I don't want the berm images now. I want the regular images. And the images can be fairly large. I wouldn't make them larger than, let's say, 500 kilobytes because within the Lightbox, the images get preloaded and they're not loaded initially. So those images can be a bit larger. The reason I like to use berm.net to make the images smaller, or the minimum width and height that I know I'm going to use for that image, is because these hoverbox images get loaded initially within the website, and that causes the website to load. If the images are small, the website will load really quick. The images within the Lightbox can be a little bit larger because they get preloaded and aren't loaded right away within the website. They're only loaded when the Lightbox opens. All right, and even so, when you go to the next image, it gets preloaded as well. So the images can be, I wouldn't make them like a megabyte or 2 megabytes, just maybe around 500 kilobytes is okay. All right, so now I'll finish adding all the images here. So I'll add this image here, or is that the image? Yep, that's the image for that. And then we have this image here, and I have image 4. Image 4 is this one. Image 5 is, yep, this one here. And when you get to image 5, the first 4 images are enabled, so you want to make sure here that the enable option is checked to enable image 5. So initially image 1 through 4 is enabled, and the rest of the image you'll have to click on this enable button to enable those images. So I'll go to image 6, which is this one here, and image 7. So again, I'll click enable, then click add file. For this, it's this one. And then, or let me see if that's right. Nope, image 7 is a different image. So I'll go to image 7, and this is image 7 here. Image 8, click on enable, then click on add file, and image 8 is this one here. And then image 9, click enable, and then click add file. And for image 9, it's this image here. All right, so we have 9 images for this example. So image 1 through 9 are enabled, and I've added the image. I can also add a caption link, a title, and description, and open the link in a new page here within the widget options. We have enable, the image, so you add the image here, the caption link, the title, and description, and you can open the link in a new page. All right, and then there's linking more info here if you wanted to link the images or the caption to internal pages, external pages, or anchor points. All right, looks good. So I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. And let me close some of these windows here actually. So let me go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. So there we have the grid, we hover over, we have the different elements, and if I click on any of the images, it'll open the Lightbox. So here we see we have 9 different images, and if I click, the image always starts on the first image. So we want the image the hover box to correspond with the image in the lightbox. So for instance, I want these oranges here to open the 7th image, the oranges image here. So with the new update, now you can easily do that. The way to do that is to select the hover box, then go to the hyperlink section right up here, click on hyperlinks, and in the tooltip, set the number where you want that hover box or that element to open, what number image you want that element to open. And the first image starts at 0. So the first image would be 0. So this image is 0 because it's this is the first hover box here. And then I want this image to open the second image. So I'll select it, go to the hyperlink section, set this to 1 because the second image would be 1 because we're starting at 0. Then select the third image. So the third image would be 2. And then I'll go to the fourth image. So that one would be 3. So everything is off by 1 or it goes back by 1 because the first image is 0 within the lightbox. So I'll go to the fifth image and that'll be 4. So I'm just adding the number within the tooltip. I'll go to the 6th hover box, go to the hyperlink section, and that'll be 5. And then I'll go to the 7th image here, go to the hyperlinks, that'll be 6. And I'll go to the 8th image here, go to the hyperlink section, that'll be 8. So in the tooltip section, I'm placing the number. And then I'll go to the 9th image here, go to the hyperlink section, and that'll be 9. Or excuse me, that'll be 8. All right, so there we have all the hover boxes assigned to the different images. So now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and let's say I select the 9th image here, that opens the 9th image. So just like that, we can use the RLG single widgets now. We can create our own gallery and assign the elements within that gallery to the specific image that we want using the tooltip option in the hyperlink section within Adobe Muse. So I can click on any of these images and it'll correspond to that specific image. Perfect, looks good. So that is one of the major updates with the 1.7 update. You can now assign the RLG single elements, or the elements you use to open the RLG single widgets, you can assign to a specific image using the tooltip option in the hyperlink section up here in the upper panel within Adobe Muse, and setting the number here in the tooltip, and the first image starts at 0 within the lightbox. All right, looks good. So I'll go over the other updates. So if we go to the lightbox options within the widget options, I'll open the lightbox. There's a few new options in here. So the first new option is this distance between thumbnails. So it's in pixels. So right now the distance between thumbnails and the lightbox is 5 pixels. If I were to set this to, let's say, 20, and I'll go ahead and preview, and I'll open the lightbox, we can see there's more space between the thumbnails down here. So that's just a quick customization you can do. If you want more space between the thumbnails at the bottom, you can now do that within the lightbox options. So the other option, and this has been requested quite a bit, is the ability to change the hover color for the icons and the arrows within the lightbox. So right down here within the lightbox section, you can now change the icon and arrow hover color. So I can click here and I can select any color. So I'll select this green color. And now if I preview and I open and I hover over the icon, they now have that green color. So you can make customize the color of the lightbox to be more white, and then change the hover color of the buttons so they're not white as well and don't blend into the background of the lightbox. That looks good. So the other update is the ability to enable or disable the previous and next arrows. So right down here, so let me go down here a bit. So here we have enable previous and next arrows. So if I uncheck that and I preview, I open the lightbox, there's no previous and next arrow. You can change the slides with your mouse wheel, or you can click and drag to change the images. So on a mobile device, they'll be able to click and drag and change the images just like that. Looks good. All right, and the other update, if I go back to the lightbox and right down here, we now have this option. We can enable or disable the loop option. So if I uncheck this, the images won't loop in the lightbox. So I'll show an example. I'll preview in the browser and I'll open the lightbox. And if I go to the last image and I try to go again to the right, it's not going to go to the right. And if I enable the arrows, so let me go back here and let me enable the previous and next arrows, and I'll preview again, and I'll open. If I go to the last image here, this is the last image, and I try to go to the right, it won't let me because the looping is disabled. When looping is enabled, it'll go back to the first image here, just like that. So it won't let me go back and forth and loop through the gallery. All right, so I think those are all the updates. So there are performance improvements within all the widgets themselves, and there's updated code within the widgets themselves. And the code is actually more lightweight in the back end for the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget. And another update that was introduced in a previous update is that you no longer need to add the fonts by going to File, Add Files for Upload, and adding the fonts in the font folder. So you've probably noticed in the previous versions or in the previous updates that the fonts folder is not included anymore. You just need to be connected to the internet to make sure that you can use all the functionality of the widget. So the fonts automatically get added to the Lightbox Gallery, so you don't need to do any extra steps to add the icons. So these icons here are automatically added, and you don't need to add the fonts within the fonts folder. They're actually not included anymore within the widget folder. So that's all set there. It automatically gets added. So you don't need to go to File, Add Files for Upload to add the icons. All right, so the last thing I'll show is I'll create a new page here, and I'll just quickly show the thumbnail version of the Lightbox Gallery. Everything's the same. It just has these new updates. Like you can change the distance between thumbnails. You can enable the previous and next buttons. You can enable or disable looping, and you can change the icon and arrow hover color as well. So I'll just bring in the RLG images, and I'll just add a few images here. So for the number of images, it's 4. So I'll go ahead and let me add the thumbnail images first. So I'll go to Berm, and I'll select these thumbnail images here, and this one here, and let's see, we'll do these oranges here, okay? And then for image 1, I'll add the image. So it's this one, image 2. I'll add the image. Image 3 is this one here, and image 4. All right, and I'll stretch it to browser width. So I'll go to the resize option right up here, click the drop down, say stretch to browser width, and I'll align the thumbnails in the center. So I'll go to the text panel and I'll align in the center with the text options. Looks good. And I'll make the widget container a bit smaller. So now I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and just like that, we have the images. So I actually added the berm images. So let me go back in here and re-add the regular images. So let's see. And this one here, and this one. Okay, so I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and perfect. So there we have it. All right, looks good. And all the updates I went over apply to the thumbnail widgets as well. And one thing I want to go over, if you do want to add the add-ons, so I'll just type in RLG in the library panel. Let's say I want to add the RLG add-on, the images add-on. To add more images, I'll just click, hold, and drag, place right in there, and make sure that the add-ons are placed to the right of the website and below the thumbnails. So right there. So for the add-ons, I'll add another 12 images. So in the number of images, I'll select 12. So now I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and now 12 more images have been added. I can resize, and the thumbnails resize with the width of the browser. And I do go over more of the options of the responsive Lightbox Gallery in previous videos. In this video tutorial, I'm just covering the 1.7 updates to the widget. So the last thing I'll do is we'll go ahead and just style this lightbox. So I'll go to style the lightbox. I'm going to sample a few of these different colors from these images. So I'm going to go to the browser fill option, click the drop down, and select the swatches panel here, or the sample color tool. And then I'm just going to sample a few colors and then add to the swatches panel by clicking on this icon here. So yeah, this icon will add it to the swatches panel. And then I'll select this. I'll select this blue color, add it to the swatches. Select the sample color. I'll select this yellow color, add it to the swatches, and I'll select this orange color here and add it to the swatches panel, and this pink color here as well, and add it to the swatches. All right, and then in the browser fill, I'll set it back to white. All right, so now I'll go into the RLG widget, the responsive Lightbox Gallery widget, and I'll go to the Lightbox section, and right in here, we're gonna just change it to different colors. So I'll make the Lightbox background color this light blue, the Lightbox opacity I'll leave at 1, the toolbar background color I'll make this pink color here, and the toolbar opacity we'll leave at 0.45. The progress bar color I'll make it the pink color. The thumbnail background color I'll set it to I'll set that to yellow, or maybe this orange color. And the thumbnail border color we'll set it to this light blue. The thumbnail border hover color we'll set it to this dark blue. The distance between thumbnails I'll set it to 5, and the counter color text we'll leave it at white. The image title text color will say white. The image description text color we'll leave it at white. The icon color we'll make it, we'll say white for the icon color, and the arrow color we'll say white as well. The toggle background color, let me zoom out here, we'll say the orange. The toggle icon color will make it white, and the hover color will make it blue. All right, and then for these options right down here, I do want to enable thumbnails. I want to enable the caption above the thumbnails. I want to animate the thumbnails. I want to show thumbnails initially, enable autoplay, enable counter, enable full screen, enable zoom, enable download. I want the previous and next arrows. I do want the slides to be able to change with the mouse wheel. I want the slides to be able to change when dragging and with swiping, let's say on a mobile device. And I do want loop enabled. All right, so there we've customized the Lightbox Gallery. And if you do want to change the font for the caption and the title, you can just go to Google Fonts and then select any font. So here I'll select this Barrio font. I'll click on the plus symbol right up here, and then right down here we can see it says one family selected. So I'll click there, and then I just want to copy right here where it says font family. I just want to copy everything here right before the semicolon. So I'm copying Barrio and cursive, and then I'll hold down Command C to copy. Go back into Muse, open the widget options, go into the Lightbox, and here in the Google font section, in the Lightbox font family, I'm gonna hit Command V to paste that in. So we have that Barrio cursive is pasted in here, and then for the font name, it's this first name here. So the font name is Barrio. So here within these quotes here, the name is Barrio, so that's the font name, and we just want to write that in there. And I'll leave the caption font weight to 400. So now I'll preview. I'll go to File, Preview Page, and Browser. So I'll click there. There we have the Lightbox. Looks good. And if I click, we can see the title and description has that Barrio font, and all the colors are changed within the Lightbox. Perfect. So here I'll open that. So each hover box opens the image for the Lightbox. So when I hover over, we have those nice hover boxes, and I'll click on the image and it opens the image that it corresponds to within the Lightbox. Looks good. So that is it for the Lightbox Gallery, the 1.7 update. I'm really excited about it because I did want the images in the RLG single widgets to correspond to the image within the Lightbox. So just a few other things I'll show is how to rearrange the hover boxes on different breakpoints. So here I'm going to right click, right on the breakpoints bar, I'm going to click add breakpoint. I'm going to say 600, and here I can just rearrange these hover boxes so they fit on this breakpoint, just like that. So I'm just kind of rearranging them just like so, and perfect. So I'll just line them up next to each other, just like that. Boom, looks good. And these ones as well, right there. And then I'll just place it right up here, center it in the center. Now I'll preview. So here we're resizing. Once we get to the 600 breakpoint, the hoverbox changes the orientation, and I click and it opens the Lightbox. And you could resize even more. So on mobile devices, the hoverboxes can go down the center of the device. You can also have the hoverboxes be responsive in width and height. So if I select these elements here and I go to the resize option, I can say responsive width. And because everything is pinned to the center, the hoverboxes will just get smaller relative to the center of the browser. So here, actually at the moment they're not, because the minimum width is set to 230. So if I set the minimum width to 0 for all of them, they will get smaller. So let me just set it to 0 for all of them. Okay, so now that the minimum width is set to 0 for all the hover boxes, they can get smaller than 230 pixels in width. So I'll preview, and if I resize the browser, we can see the hover boxes get smaller relative to the center of the browser. And once it gets to the 600 breakpoint, it rearranges for the 600 breakpoint. So just like that, you have that. I like to keep them not responsive in width and just rearrange them. So I'll go to the resize and set none to the resize option, and then just rearrange the hover boxes on different breakpoints. So there we go. There we have it on the 960 breakpoint, and then the 600. And then you can rearrange it even more for the mobile breakpoints. You can put them below each other. And then when you hover over them, you have the nice hover box. You click, and you open the responsive Lightbox Gallery. Perfect. All right, so that is it for the 1.7 update to the responsive Lightbox Gallery. By the time this video is available, the update will be available as well. Again, if you're part of the subscription, you can just download the update from the subscription, or if you purchased individually, you can go to the download link that was sent when purchased and download the update. If you don't have that link or don't see it, just send me an email and I'll resend that link to you so you can download the update. So to get access to this widget, you simply go to museforYouShop.com, and here you can click subscribe now, and here you can click subscribe now to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. Or if you'd like to purchase individually, you can click here on the Lightbox Gallery, and here you can click add to cart to purchase individually, or again you can click subscribe to get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. Here are the features included. The changelog will be here as well, and the video will be here as well. Here are a few of the widget options and the different preview pages. So we have the preview pages for the thumbnails and the preview page for the RLG single widgets. So that's it for this video tutorial. I'm really excited for this update. Again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the show more section, there are links to museforYouShop.com and links to a few other resources. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.
Muse for You, awesome websites without code.